Do 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 do. Hello there guys, my name is JL Gimpy Dwarf and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So I did say that videos will only be going up Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, but today they've added the first iteration of something I've been waiting for so long in Space Engineers, and it will mean I will build a lot more big ships. Now, what is it? Well, as you probably saw from that little starty thing, if you read where I was actually pointing with the mouse, it is oxygen! Like the best thing in the world, the thing I've asked for like a year, and they've actually added it, not because of me but down to, you know, just them actually having the capabilities to add it now. So they've got 3 new blocks in the game. They've got this, which is an oxygen tank, which is of course used to store oxygen. They've also got this, which is an oxygen creator, which well, an oxygen generator, which does exactly what you think it does. It generates oxygen for the area. And then we've also got this vent. It's oxygen vent. Now, I'll explain how these work first, and then I'll show you how they work in this like area here. We are in a world at the moment where I'm looking to build a station, which will most likely incorporate the oxygen, and it should be really fun to play around with it. But the first thing we've got is the oxygen tank. Now, the oxygen tank you can hook up on multiple different sides, and if you look inside here, you can, there's only a few options. You can obviously turn it on and off, change your ownership, turn it off on the hood, whatever, change the name. But you've also got this stockpile. So this means it will stockpile all oxygen that is created, and basically once it's full, it's full. Now, as you can see here, it does say whether it's filled or not and how much is filled. It gives it in a percentage, and it's a really cool feature because that means you can stockpile a emergency supply of oxygen and have it so if your main oxygen supply goes down for whatever reason, you can have an oxygen supply that is stored around heavy armor to be really protective. And that means it can, of course, you know, you can use that in emergency environments. So it's a really cool block to use, and it's definitely going to add a lot more to larger ships, especially with ships that you struggle to find space for stuff on. Now, the only issue I've got with this at the moment is a lot of my big ships that I built in Fleet Commanders don't use or allow for the addition of oxygen into the, you know, into the main areas. So I'm going to have to try and think of how to convert them. If I can't, then I just won't, but if they are fairly simple to do, then I'll actually have a look at it. But for future ships, I'll try and keep them so that oxygen is something that can be used in all of them, and they are completely, you know, ready for that sort of environment. Now, you've also got this, which is an oxygen generator. Now, again, what this does is actually produces oxygen. Now, the way this produces oxygen is it uses ice, which is a new item in game. So if I go F10, you've got this. So if I spawn it in and just drop it down somewhere, this is ice. This is what ice is. This is literally an ice block. So what this does is, if you were to mine it on asteroids, it does change some asteroids around you that haven't been touched to ice. So be wary of that if you're in a survival world. But what this actually allows is you put it into the oxygen generator, and this will obviously probably melt it down and, you know, take out the oxygen out of the H2O, and, you know, use it to produce oxygen for your ships. Now, this also means, because of oxygen, you can walk around without a helmet on and save power. So it's a really stinking cool thing. Now, the main block that is going to cause a lot of issues, these two are fairly easy to incorporate into a system, but this one here, to actually enable oxygen in a room of sorts, there can be all varying types of rooms, but the bigger the room, the longer it takes for them to fill. This is going to be a problem, because what you've actually got to do is you've got to vent the oxygen to the areas required. So it will use the same vents that it transfers all materials through, but you require to have conveyor tubes attached to the back of these to, you know, enable the oxygen to flow into the room. So that can be a slight issue for ships, because you're going to have to allow for a bit more space on ships, and you're also going to have to make sure that something is an enclosed space, because some people use, you know, areas that don't exactly close properly and things like that, and it's going to be difficult to, you know, enable oxygen in that area. Okay, so moving on. So I've got my little sort of demonstration room here to show you how the hell this oxygen works. Now, there are a few colours that you need to remember with this system. Now, there are a few colours for the oxygen tanks. Now, because I'm not in survival, I can't really tell a lot, but by the looks of it, this bar just fills up to say how full it is. So as you can see, it's all green, so it's obviously full up. Now, I'm sure if I were to change that to stockpile, it may change colour. So if I go like this and go stockpile, oh no, so, oh yeah, there we go. So it changes to blue like a battery does when it goes to recharge. So that's like saying I'm recharging my oxygen levels. That's pretty cool. Now, you've also got a colour-coded system on the oxygen generator. Now, this actually has green, which means that it's no longer producing oxygen because that room is okay for oxygen now. But if it were to be producing, it'd go blue to say, you know, I'm trying to recharge all the oxygen that has been lost through opening a door or depressurizing an area. So that is really, really cool. And as you can see, we've got this hooked up to a single vent that goes into, well, an oxygen pressurizer that goes into this room here. So let's head inside. There are a few cool little particle effects that go with this as well. So if we open this door and close this door, I've got a nice little airlock here. And if we open this door, as you can see, when I close this door, where it says gravity, where the 1.0 G is, it's got oxygen none, because we're in this room, there's no oxygen. When I open this, it says oxygen high. So obviously these doors are air sealed, so no air can escape through them. But that's a really, really cool thing, how it actually senses that there's new open areas and that you can actually, you know, you can change, you know, it's pretty cool. So through here, if we've got this vent, which I do believe also does what it says on the tin. Now if we go depressurize, it says the vent will remove air from the room and store it in tanks. So if we do that, it goes blue. So it's actually sucking up all the oxygen in its room, apparently, and storing it in a tank. But I think because it can't store any more in that tank, it's kind of screwed. Or because it's probably in creative and it's just going, what the hell. So I'll change that back. Now, these do a cool little particle effect when they're filling up, but the first cool feature that I'm going to show is if I go onto here and go K, is it K or T? We go T, and where is it to remove? Engineer suit, no helmet. Here we go. So I actually no longer have a helmet, I think. There we go, so I have a face. Now, I'm unsure whose face this is, whether it's just developed around Marek's face, I don't know. The developers, the boss man of Keen Software House, I'm unsure, but it does look very European, let's say that, but it's pretty cool. So if we close that and do that, then we can wander around here freely with our helmet off, and we've got oxygen that can sustain us, which is really, really nice, and that will be producing. Now, I think due to the fact that I am using oxygen because my suit isn't on, this thing has actually started to pump more in, and as you can see, there's a particle effect for that. So if I go T again and then put it back on, does that actually stop? That is the question. It's a bit of tinkering. That is actually really cool because it knows a person's in here and it knows that I'm using it. So there must be something they've set on the character to say, when the helmet's off, use up oxygen. That is really, really cool actually. So that makes a cool particle effect. Another cool particle effect is when you let all the oxygen out of a room. So if I open this door and open this door, and there should be a cool depressurizing effect, if I'm right. It did work just, but so we'll let this room fill up again with oxygen. There we go. Is there a cool depressurizing effect? There was a cool depressurizing effect, but it isn't actually working properly at the moment. Weird. So if I were to break a window in this, as you can see, the oxygen generator goes blue and it goes green again, so it's trying to generate stuff. It's already caught up with itself, and that one's sort of teetering, I believe. Was that teeter from green then? So it's saying we've got no oxygen. This is saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, we're losing oxygen pretty fast here. So it's really nice. I'm still going to have to get used to the system. Some things that I've tried to explore and looked at through their video may be slightly askew, but I think you guys get the gist. Basically you need these 3 blocks and you need closed areas, and you can produce oxygen and survive in a survival world. Where that particle effect has gone, I don't know. It just seems to have disappeared. Let's get rid of a door. Maybe it's because there's 2 doors. Okay, let's close that, and let's close, there we go. Let it build up again and see what happens. So if we do this, so normally there's like a cool particle effect that actually allows it shows all the oxygen escaping through the door like a gust, but it actually isn't doing that at the moment. But this is what I'm on about when it's sort of trying to, you know, put oxygen back into this room, and that's really, really nice. So once that's done, can we get this to work? I really want it to work 'cause it's such a cool effect. No, weird. So yeah, so that is oxygen. It's something that is really, I'm really, really looking forward to using on this station, and it will be really, really interesting to see what people come up with now as the game has progressively got harder due to this update. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little look through of oxygen, and if you guys have enjoyed, then please like, favourite, and of course subscribe for more. And of course, share your feelings in the comment section below. We can all have a chat about what we think about oxygen. And I'll see you guys later. Peace!